Hi, I'm so excited to do a series on how you can use a walker, a walker, to improve your vitality and your health, reduce your pain, gain more mobility, strength, instead of you thinking to yourself, oh, no, my wrist, no, my back, oh, no, my hip, oh, I'm just getting so tired using this walker, I'm going to have to sit down. There's some very important tips that I can pass on to you that's going to make a tremendous difference for you. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Cynthia Allen. I'm a Guild Certified Feldenkrais practitioner, senior trainer in movement intelligence and Bones for Life, and co-creator of Integral Human Gait Theory. And I'm really pleased to bring you this series. So you might want to have a pencil and paper just to make yourself a few little notes, but you can also stop the video at any time and replay it. And I'm also going to give you some hints for when to stop and give it a go. I'm not going to be covering things like your walker height or how to use the brakes, how to put it up against the wall so that when you sit down or stand up you don't move it too much. Those are things that you can get from anyone. So let's get ready to really explore in a deep way. Hope you have your walker nearby so you can pause and explore. Shoes, you can choose to have your shoes on. I have shoes off. The only thing I would say is if you're able to be safely without them, do it. But if you're not, or if it would cause you pain, keep your shoes on. And then like, subscribe, make comments below. I want to be in conversation with you. Okay, the place we need to start with is your starting standing position. So when you stand at your walker, right now, how do you stand? Take a moment to bring yourself up and stand at your walker and feel what your standing starting point is like. For some of you, you'll feel like, oh, I've got one hip way off out to the side, or it's kind of cocked back. Many of you will notice that your head is in front of your pelvis and that you're leaning forward, and that when you try to stand up, it hurts your back. You're like, oh no, if I stand up, it's going to hurt my back. Oh no, don't make me do that, right? So let's see what we can do to make this starting posture work for you, because that's really the beginning of it. If you have to have a compromised standing posture, your first steps will be difficult. So let's find out. Let's play with some ideas. So I'm just going to imagine that most people standing at the walker are a little bit forward and their hips are back. This is what that looks like from the side. Their hips are back, their head is in front. Or you might be more somebody who does this. Knees are kind of bent and your back is rounded. Your tail might be even tucked under. But let's take this very first one where the head is forward and the hips are back. And you might not be back evenly. You might be back with more off to one side or the other. Right? You're kind of familiar probably with your own pattern. So we're going to find out what could we use to start to bring a better alignment without aggravating our low back. Because if I tell you to stand up straight from here, you're going to try to do it, and you're going to actually increase the pressure on your low back, which was already pretty significant. And you're going to go, ow, it hurts, it does not feel good. And if that was the case, I would be doing this too. Okay, so instead we're going to use our hands on the walker as a starting point. Why not? We'll start to press through our hands on the walker. And as we press, we're just feeling if it could give us any kind of hints about how our body might come into a new alignment. It's not a sudden press. It's not a hard press. It's a very slow, steady press. Slow, steady press. And if you can get used to the sensation that, oh, my head and my pelvis are kind of like a seesaw or a teeter-totter, and I started out with my head forward and the rear end back and down a little bit. And now I'm going to take that rear end really back and down, but I'm doing it from the hands. And this is going to help you to engage your shoulder blades and also your hip joints in a different way and take the strain off of your low back. So that's a pretty cool little trick I just gave you. So I hope you'll stop and pause and practice that one right now. But I'm going to go on for the next one. So when you're done practicing, come back. I hope that worked for you, but if it didn't, I have at least 2 more things that we can try, maybe 3 or 4. So don't worry, not all of these will be potent and powerful for you, but you will find 1 or 2, I feel really confident, 1 or 2 that is going to work for you. So the next one, I'd like you to sort of imagine or exaggerate that you're in a little more of this rounded, tail tucked position. And that means your knees will be a little bit bent. And you can use your hands as well for this one, but I find that it won't actually do quite as much. So instead of just using the hands pressing, we want to see if we can start to exert pressure down through the feet and the hands at the same time. And when I say through the feet, I really mean like at the front of the heel. Like you could see that this would be the front of the heel of the hand. Well, you have a front of the heel of the foot. It's the back of the arch. I would like you to try to put your attention in that spot. It's actually the same for me here where I'm pressing on the walker. It's also the front of the heel of the hand. So here I am a little bit more in that curled position. And now I'm going to begin to press through the feet and gradually add the arms, the hands. And this will help me to start to extend my knees. Now my butt starts to swing a little bit forward and my head and my chest starts to come a little bit up. Let's try it again. Let's go ahead and kind of come back into whatever is your rounded position. Butt or tail is tucked under a little bit. The head is kind of cranked and you got a little bit of an excessive arch in your neck and you feel rounded probably in the upper back. And start to press through the front of the heel on the ground. And as you feel your knees just gradually starting to straighten, add a little bit from the hands until you feel you're more upright. Now with either of these, we're not looking for perfection. So it's okay if what you feel like is like, I don't know, maybe you watched yourself in a mirror and you're like, well, I thought I did a lot, but I'm still really rounded or I'm still really back. It's okay. You're going in a new direction. We don't have to get perfection. We just want to explore new possibilities. You will start to more and more spontaneously choose the organization that your body likes and how it wants to make it on your own. So let's pause and practice that one. Okay, now we have a third way we could practice. For either one of these, I think will work. Either organization of being a little more tipped forward, being a little more rounded. It can be that you're somebody who is in the lean back, but it's fairly rare, so I'm not going to really cover that one. So as you're standing and you're feeling your feet on the ground, I'd like you to just notice if it feels like your toes are scrunched or if it feels like your toes are kind of light. And a lot of us, we start scrunching the ground with the toes, grabbing our socks or shoes, the ground with our toes, and we lose the length of our feet, which means we don't really have available the whole lever of the foot when we go to walk because our toes are all cramped up. So let's play with that. Let's actually cramp the toes, squeeze the toes on the ground as if you were grabbing the ground and feel what it does to your weight on your feet. Does it carry you more back towards the heels? Does it feel less balanced to you or more balanced or maybe super familiar? A lot of us do this. And then release the toes until they're long and think of spreading the ball of your feet. Now the ball of the foot is the entire ball from big toe to little toe. It's the entire thing. So even if you feel like, I have no idea what you mean, Cynthia, how would anybody even do that? Still, in your imagination, do that. And then squeeze or scrunch or pull on the toes, make them short, grab the ground, and then allow the toes to become long and spread the balls of your both feet. Spread them. And just play with that. Now this is an actual kind of exercise for you. But you can feel that as you do this movement, alternating back and forth, and it's going to affect each of us a little bit differently, your posture is changing and your weight on your feet is changing. So let's find out if playing in this way could be useful for you. Take a pause and play. Okay, you ready to try another one? If you feel tired, you can stop. You can come back to this video anytime. So totally okay. Don't go until you're really tired, fatigued, not paying attention, or even in pain. Again, you do not want to cause pain. We want to find the 2 or 3 hints that really make it work for you. So let's see if we can find another couple ways of exploring how to be more in the upright position at the walker. And one image that I use is I actually ask people to find their pubic bone, put one hand on your pubic bone, and then press your pubic bone forward. Okay, and then you come back and you do that again. You press your pubic bone because you want to press your hand forward in space. Okay, a couple of times. Press your pubic bone forward. Now, we have this incredible teeter-totter of a spine, so when your pubic bone came forward, what happened? I bet that your shoulders and your head started to change their orientation in space. Once you understand where your pubic bone is, you don't have to keep your hand there. You can put it down, put it back on the walker, and you can just use your own image of that, okay? We're not really trying to do a glute squeeze here, although for some of you that could be helpful, but that's not what we're doing. We're really just swaying the pelvis forward, thinking about the pubic bone coming forward. Many of us are leading with our head and our shoulders, and this is a really precarious way to walk. It uses a ton of energy. So really all we're doing here is starting to change that relationship. So as we bring the pubic bone forward, the head and the shoulders, without us trying to stand up straight and tall, will start to change. Now, it actually could be helpful to just pick the shoulders up towards your ears and let them roll back and down. And why do I say that? I say it because many people, when they are at their walker, they have their shoulders really hunched up and they're gripping onto the walker. So let's see if we can change that. We've already brought the pubic bone forward, and then we're just going to add this, take the shoulders up a little bit higher, roll them down and back. As you roll them down and back, just notice if you could feel a little width across your collarbones. And then let's put them all together. So you might be in the forward position a little bit. You start to bring your pubic bone forward. Notice that your nipples start to rise in space, men and women. And as you come up to that higher position, lift up your shoulders a little bit, roll them down and back. And now, I used to use this image a lot because it actually works, especially for women, but I think it can work for men. If you had headlights for nipples, you would find that they are shining forward instead of on the ground. So you have managed to bring your upper body up over top of your pelvis, and you've probably managed to do it without compromising your low back. That's a big win. Okay, I feel like that's a really good start for you. All these different ways of organizing how to become more upright, how you would use this as you get ready for any time you stand, any time of the day, you would stop before you get onto the walker and you start walking. Don't do that. Stop if you can. Hopefully you have the time to stop and go, what was that cue again that works for me? Use the cue, come up, and then start out. It will make a dramatic difference in your way of walking. A dramatic difference. But I have more for you, so stick around for the rest of the series.